Good morning. Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Liz Staniszewski here from At the Altar. Liz, thanks for jumping on the call with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So how this works is I'm going to ask you 6 questions in 6 minutes, and we're going to learn all about your business and your successes and challenges. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Well, the first question is, when people ask you what your business does, how do you describe it?
Right off the bat, I do describe it as an officiating service. I have ordained online through Universal Life Ministries, and I let them know that we do offer officiating services. There's no denomination specific that we do, so we do cater to all types of religions and traditions. Some are newer than others, which I find exciting. I find that there are a lot of people that are open to a non-religious or non-denominational type of officiating service.
Very interesting. So side question. So if they do have a specific faith that they want you to bring out, will you study that and bring that out for them?
Yes, I will. I have actually. I did do a Hindi, partial Hindi wedding. It was interesting because it was Hindi and Catholic.
Wow.
So the bride was Catholic and he was Hindi, and they wanted just elements included in the ceremony. So it wasn't a full on traditional Hindi service, but they just wanted like I call it, little sprinkles of the religion because his family was going to be on FaceTime watching. So he thought that it would be a kind of like a homage or respect to the religion and his elders that were watching. So yeah, I've done that. I've done a little bit of Jewish, with the breaking of the glass and some of those other traditions that are becoming a little bit more common. But of course, when we talk about integrating some of those beliefs and religions, I like to try to be as respectful as I can. Because a lot of people, of course, the elders are a lot more serious about those traditions and don't like for people who aren't in those religions to be taking those things lightly.
Absolutely.
So I do take that into consideration when someone does ask me to do an interfaith service.
That's wondering, yeah, honoring those different faiths in highlighting them and lifting them up, right? So
right.
That's beautiful. So when you first started your business, what were your plans and how have they changed?
Well, one day is just my now sister-in-law. Yeah, my sister-in-law texted me, and her and my sister got married on Easter in 2018. And she said she was looking all over for someone to marry them. And she's just had this idea that, hey, why don't your sister do it? She's, really good at public speaking. And, I wouldn't think of anyone better. So when she asked me, I was like elated. I was like, wow, this is great. Now I'm nervous now that, what do I do? And how do I study it? How long is it going to take? And so there was a lot of questions. And like I said, I was honored to do it, but I was also very nervous because, it's extremely important role. Without an officiant, you can't get married. So, I have to make sure that I had to do it right. So once I did that, and I was like, okay, this was nice. And then from there, I kind of didn't think about it. And one day I was just sitting at the kitchen table thinking, if you can believe it, thinking about retirement. I'm thinking about what do I want to do? Do I want to work 9 to 5 every day in an office, or do I want to have more control over my time, as I get older? So it just went back to that officiating, and I thought, wow, this is probably something I could do. Let me research a little bit. And I did that. And then I just pushed the button on it. And I was like, what do I need to do to make it, like a legal entity, so I went ahead and filed with the state to get my LLC. So trying to keep it as, legal as possible, just to make sure that, I know that Uncle Sam has to get paid, but be able to, like, what services can I offer? And it just kind of jumped from there. Like I said, I started in 18. I went LLC and officially pushed the button June of 2020, and mid-COVID, believe it or not. And business has been booming since. COVID didn't slow the wedding business down at all. It did control the number of people that were in attendance.
Sure.
But those that wanted to get married were getting married. So now it's just blossoming, where now I'm into a day of coordinating, month of coordinating. So I'm kind of expanding the business in those areas. I've picked up 4 other officiants.
Wow.
Since I started. So so I'm just kind of branching out and just kind of testing the waters and see who's who's as passionate as I am about it, because I just absolutely love doing what I do. After my husband thinks I'm crazy sometimes, but it's great. I really do enjoy it. So it's growing.
Cool. Who would have thought, right? Doing one wedding and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you got
I,
four officiants
it,
with you.
yes,
So
it doesn't, it
cool.
baffles me.
What is your biggest way that you impact the community?
What I try to do as far as the community is I try to be as charitable as I can. My kids were involved in like a pre-football kind of like pee-wee football type deal. So, I try to donate as much as I can there.
Mhm.
Um, and I also try to look out for other areas that I can assist. Like they have like, well, you have like Make-A-Wish. There's a place called, I think it's like Wish Upon a Star, that I've been trying to like, I'm kind of working into getting involved in. And that's for, adults who want, things like weddings and stuff like that, but can't afford
Cool.
that. So, I'm looking into different avenues that would allow me to help kind of do things pro bono, basically. Like if somebody, is ill, and they want to get married before that time comes. I've had a couple call me once before. It's like, can you do, a wedding at the hospital bed? And I'm always open to anyone who's willing to, who wants to get married. And if they can't afford it, then, I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I just, this doesn't happen often. Like I said, I think I've gotten maybe one or two calls. Um, and I've always been very open to offering my services, like with those circumstances, I'm more than happy to help anyone kind of reach that moment in
Absolutely.
their lives, to be fulfilled, if you will.
That's
So,
beautiful. I always tell my kids and most people that everybody deserves to feel safe and loved. And if that love comes from unity before they pass, that's beautiful that you could offer that to them in the right
oh yeah.
circumstance. So, what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners could learn from?
Oh man, there's not enough time in the day. There really isn't. Honestly, I don't think that I've come across anything that's been too challenging, except for time,
Mhm.
because I just want to help everybody. And I think that's my problem. Sometimes my husband says I'm too nice. And I don't think he means that in a bad way, but because he tells me don't overexert yourself, don't overextend yourself. And then there'll be days where it's, I'm double booked and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I think the biggest thing is to be able to manage your time properly. And now that I have, a pretty decent staff, that's my go-to. I still have to be respectful of their schedules because a lot of them still have full-time jobs. I myself carry a full-time job
Wow.
on top of this. So, it's like I said, I'm working towards, making this full-time somewhere, like I said, down the road, but it's probably not going to happen anytime in the near future. So I think just time management and support is pretty much what's going to get you through it. But yeah, I just find that when I look at my calendar, it sometimes can be a bit overwhelming. And then I kind of just sit back and woosah, if you will, just kind of a relaxed, deep breath and be like, okay,
Deep breath, exactly.
what do I
So
do
that
first?
actually leads us into the next question. What does the future look like for you? And do you have an exit plan? So obviously you don't have an exit plan if you're entering more into it. Could you tell us a little bit like your where that future would look like if you could just say, okay, tomorrow this is what I want to happen.
Wow. Well, what I'm working on, kind of like with expanding.
Mhm.
My hope is like at the end, and I'll start backwards. At the very end, my hope is to give something to the kids to keep going, so that they don't have to work as hard as I did. You know what I mean? Even though this is not easy by any means, it's not. But I want them to be able to enjoy life, and I want them to be able to take on this business in the future. Hopefully, it is thriving and growing, and that they're able to kind of just like be on their own schedule. So that's what I want to leave for them. As far as the things like leading up to it, my next project that I'm currently working on right now is an elopement event. I want to be able to give that couple who wants all the bells and whistles a wedding on a elopement budget, if you will. Okay. So we have an event coming up in February, and it's a Valentine's Day, so it's a big cliche, but I know there's a market for it. Um, but it is 10 couples. They each get an hour, and they get a ceremony, they get altar decor, they get bouquets, they get food, they get photo shoots, cake. I mean, it's just a champagne toast. It's an entire wedding, but it's condensed.
Sure.
Oh yeah, it's condensed, and it's kind of just like I kind of like look at it as an open house. So I hope my where I'm going with that is that I would love to kind of create these events throughout the year and
Cool.
make them available to those who are, that are looking to spend a couple thousand and not tens of thousands,
Definitely.
and
Yes.
they're still getting that big wedding experience. They're getting to be able to wear the beautiful big white dress. They get those ceremony photos that they want, and not just those courtroom shots. Um, so kind of bringing all that to fruition is like my dream, my baby right now.
Beautiful. So,
Yeah.
and that leads us into the final question. What inspires you most? All subjects open.
Oh my gosh. I think, just the idea of bringing two people together in marriage and being a part of that, it's elating. It really just makes me smile because I love being a part of that. I love interviewing my clients and listening to, how they met and how they fell in love. And, sometimes things were a bit rocky. And then 20 years later, here we are back again. And now we're going to get married. I'm like, that is incredible. Just all the diversity that comes with it, the different ceremonies that I get to learn about along the way. I mean, all of those elements, and all those aspects of any ceremony. I just don't mind the challenges, if they want to get married in this. And I have done Spanish ceremonies, which I'd love to grow. But my Spanish isn't where I feel like it needs to be. So if you know anybody that's looking, have them give me a call.
Cool.
Yeah, but that to me is like the most rewarding, is being able to pronounce them married, and just the looks on their faces, like, it's great. I love it.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the call today. And we wish you the best here at Action Coach
Thank
and for
you.
you to grow more prosperous. And it was a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much.